Hello everybody, I am back and it's been a little while. I've tried to do a couple of vlogs but they've just never really gotten off the ground. Before I go any further, hello, my name is Julianne. If you are new here, thank you so much for checking me out. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. It's always so exciting to see that people are watching my little videos. So today is a little bit of a wrap up plan, kind of just updating kind of thing, because I haven't done a proper sit down video for quite a while. I've just done that vlog from back in January. I've tried to record a couple of vlogs since. As I said, didn't really get off the ground. So yeah, I thought I would start out today just doing a little bit of wrap up on my stash down from last year. So I did not get through all my stash like I had hoped. Which is simultaneously expected, but still a bit of a disappointment. So, you know, what are you gonna do? But I do have my little sheet here with all of the projects that I did complete last year. Hopefully that paper isn't making too much noise in my microphone. I haven't numbered my projects, so I don't know how many are here. Give me a second. Okay, so I have 16 projects on here for a total of 12,557 yards and 11,482 meters. So to me, that's a lot of yarn out. I mean, technically that's what, 11.5-ish kilometers of yarn. I don't know what it is in miles, but 11,482 is pretty close to 11.5 kilometers. So that's not bad. So I don't have all these projects. Well, I don't have any of these projects, I think, here. To show you. I'm going to be better about sharing the projects this year as I go through my continued stash down. So I'll pop that down so it's not making sound on my microphone, hopefully. And have a bit of a chat. Yeah, so like I said, I probably expected to get more out of the stash in a year. There it goes. It's landed on Elvis. Whatever, bud. And yes, if you are wondering, Elvis is down on the floor next to me, so he's keeping me company. Yeah, so I'd hope I'd get more. I did sort of reduce enough that all of my fingering and sport weight yarn is in my yarn fortress that is downstairs. You will have seen it in the back of a lot of my videos. So all my fingering and sport is in there now, and I do have a little bit of space currently because I did Frogger project that was destined for last year's stash down. I'll talk about that in a little bit because that's going to be involved in something that's coming up very, very shortly. And so I've got a little bit extra space in there. It's a little bit disorganized, but yeah, I'm happy with that. I still have a lot of the heavier weight yarn hanging around because I guess it's not as easy to get to. It's actually, I keep looking down because it's in a tub just sort of at my feet. This room is still very much a mess. I have my work area kind of set up behind me. That's my knitting machine table here. My sewing machine is set up at the minute because I don't actually have any more bare yarn at the minute. So next week I'm going to be doing some sewing of some bags, my stationery kind of stuff here. You know, overlocker. I never know how to point. Overlocker. Iron. So I kind of had this side of the room sorted and I can actually work here. I've actually got a new set of shelves from my mother-in-law just over at the doorway. I've just gone off on another tangent. You can see I've got a weird spicy neuro spicy brain. Okay. So I can't get to that big tub of thicker yarn. However, I did dig some out. And that's two of the projects that I do have to show you today. Two things that I finished this year so far for the stash down, both of which were whips that I had going, one of them for quite a long time. I'm probably going to cry, as I did in the vlog where I was actually talking about this. That never got made, never got edited, so you probably won't see that. But I probably will cry because it was originally for Granger. And I have a bunch of socks that were from my advent last year. I have yarn for 3 upcoming knitting machine projects, all on my LK150, which is actually set up in my knitting cabinet at the minute. It's just all folded in. So, I guess to try and prevent me doing any more waffling, I will maybe start talking about some of those things. I think we'll go through whips first, and then we'll talk about upcoming plans. Right, so I have 4 pairs of socks here. So these were my Art Nouveau Advent self-striping set from last year. I did 3 separate Advent sets. I did the full 24 skein, I did the self-striping sock, and I did variegated sock. Let me get these in order. I think that is the correct order. So this was week 1. So these got finished this year. I finished all of these this year. So I haven't put them on my Stashdown spreadsheet, however, because these obviously was new stash. They're already dusty. Week 2. Sorry, the shadows are a bit weird from my camera because the window is in front of me. Week 3. And week 4. These are probably my favourites. So these were all inspired by Art Nouveau things. We've got some furniture. We've got my decoration that I actually included in the Advent, and a couple of William Morris. These last 2 were inspired by William Morris art. So those have all been finished this year. I got those finished so far this year. As for other things that are finished, I have a sweater, which I have not woven the ends in yet, which is really bad because usually I'm pretty good at that. And I've got the sweater for Elvis, which was previously would have been for Granger. So maybe I'll talk about that one first because that was the one that was actually on the needles for the longest. So this was the Captain Granger sweater. For obvious reasons, it looks very much like Captain America's original kind of outfit that he had in the movies for doing his tours. So instead of a star, I have a paw, obviously a paw print, which I did with intarsia. I'm not very skilled at intarsia, so don't look too closely at the edges of that paw. But I think it turned out really well. I just charted this myself, and I did a little folded over and seamed neckline just to give him a bit more warmth around the neck, because I find usually with these they do tend to be a little bit short around the neck. So I made it a little bit longer, doubled it over for a bit more warmth. So yeah, this was supposed to be for Granger. This was started in 2022. It's actually coming up next month. 2 years since Granger left us. So Elvis is going to be able to wear this this winter. Sorry guys. It still hurts a lot that he's not here. Even though, you know, he was 13 years old. So I should have been better prepared, but it happened really suddenly, so it still hurts. But yeah, this was for Granger, but now it's going to be for Elvis, who has suddenly disappeared on me when I'm crying. Usually he's really good when I get upset. He'll bolt straight in to see me, but he's disappeared on me today, which is such a comfort. But I'm super, super pleased with how this came out. But it was based on, I think her name is Judith Schwartz. It is a basic knitted dog sweater, I think, or jumper. I actually got this pattern initially from a library book. So that is what I use for all of Granger and Elvis's sweaters. Yeah, I used up a full skein of Cascade. I think this is just 220, so it's not the superwash. I used up a whole skein of the blue because I went all the way down the belly, and yeah, I'm just really chuffed with it. I think it worked out really, really well, and I can't wait to see Elvis wearing it this winter. It's going to be very, very cute. I kind of wish I had been a bit more on it to the point where Granger could have worn it, but his little brother is the beneficiary of that one, and yeah, I'll have to take some photos when the weather cools down a little bit and he gets to actually wear it so that I can show everybody Elvis in his new sweater, because yeah, it's going to be super duper cute. Might move on from the doggo sweater and talk about a sweater for me. Elvis has finally come in to see me. I'm gonna get up on my lap and see everybody on the camera. Let's hope he doesn't actually knock the camera. Here he is. He's here. You big turd. You are. Oh no, puppy attack! Puppy attack! Puppy attack! Okay, so, sweater for me. I'm not 100% sure which side is which, but please take that away. He's just put his ball on my lap. Alright, so I think this is the back because it's got the starting piece of yarn. but this is a pattern called Meet the Captain. So this was from some huge big bumper skeins of handspun that I have handspun, and I was hoping to make a sweater out of them, and I actually managed to do it, which is quite amazing because I don't usually do sweaters quite this bulky. I guess it's a sort of an Aran-ish, chunky-ish sort of weight. Probably more Aran. I mean, it's not like super duper thick, but it's probably on the heavier side of Aran. So I'll give you a bit of a close-up. So these were both some fibre that I dyed and spun. This was with just regular acid dyes, and this was with avocado. I wanted to make a sweater, and I did. I was worried about the red. I actually ended up with only just like, I think it was 2 grams of the red left, so I did quite well. I've got tons of the pink left, so I'm probably going to knit a hat or something out of that to match this. And what I basically did with this to be on the safe side, I will show you because obviously I haven't done any of my ends. I kept my yarn completely intact the whole way through, just leaving little loops that I can cut and weave in the ends, because I thought I have these 2 bumper skeins of yarn, and if I can't get a sweater out of that quantity of yarn, I'd like to keep as less breaks in that yarn as possible. So that was why I did the body with those big loops, and I did the arms as well the same. So I do need to go through and weave in all of those ends. So I did the body, I think, as long as what the pattern actually said. Did I say what the pattern was? It's a drops pattern called Meet the Captain. I think I might have said that. But I did the body as long as it sort of said, but it stopped sort of up here. And then I did my ribbing. And then I went through and did the arms. And because I was running out of the burgundy, I kept what I had for my cuffs, and then just finished the sleeves in the pink, which is fine. And then because I did have so much pink and a little bit of the red left, I went back and added, I think it was here, and then I had the hem initially at this point, and I just had enough to put another row of red, some more pink, and then just re-knitted the hem. So it's a much better length. I'll probably get a lot more wear out of it at that length, so I'm glad I did go back and just pull that bottom bit out. I had more of the pink because the yoke of this sweater is mostly in the burgundy. So these are the thicknesses of the stripes as written in the pattern, and then as I went down, I gradually made the pink stripe bigger while keeping the same width of red stripe. So all that's left on this one is to sew in many ends and yeah, give it a block, and I can wear it when the weather starts to get cooler. It's actually been relatively cool today. The breeze is very cool, but I'm starting to get really warm up here. I don't know whether it's that I'm talking and I get self-conscious when I'm talking to the camera, so maybe I'll just pop my hair back because I'm getting a little bit warm. Alright, so that's all I've got, I think, at the minute for finished objects. So I might get on to some plans. And I have 3 plans in mind. First one is at hand's reach, so we'll start there. As I said, I have 3 projects that I am wanting to get done on my LK150. I have been using it to do some colour work first and foremost, and I'll be doing some more colour work as well. I have been crushing on a pattern for a really long time, and it's called the Nightling Cowl, and it is basically a big bat, and it has moon, like phases of the moon above it. I've probably mentioned here and there before on this vlog that I actually I love bats. Anything with bats I love. Bats themselves are adorable. Have you seen one eat a banana? It is the most precious thing ever. So I love bats, and then as soon as I saw this pattern, I knew I had to knit it. But the thing that stopped me is I don't really like doing colour work by hand. I'm not very good at it. I know probably practice would help, but I don't like doing it Like, you know how some people hate brioche? I love brioche. Could do it all day. If you ask me to do Fair Isle, no, not interested. And I have previously seen a video on YouTube, of course, where else, of Anna Haferman showing her technique for faster Fair Isle. So it actually is a faster method than what is shown in the manual for my machine, because the LK150 is very basic. I think I've said that on here before. It doesn't have a ribber that comes with it. It doesn't have any kind of patterning. If you want anything different on their ribs or, you know, patterns, lace, any of that kind of stuff, you've got to do it all by hand with the tools that come with the machine. So this was my swatch. This is the swatch that is the size that is recommended for LK150s. You can probably just see there's like a little different coloured marker. You can see them on the back anyway. So this was my swatch. It's only partial part of the chart. The word is chart. And you can kind of see that's a bit of a wing. We've got like a laurel type of thing here. There's the feet of the bat. There's his body. And it's just got like little star sort of shapes around the place. So I have done my swatch. You can, everybody likes to see the floats. So I've caught most of my floats because there is some quite long floats, but a couple I did miss. Like there's this really big long one here, but that's fine. It's just a swatch. So I have kind of done my proof of concept that I can actually do 2-colour knitting on the LK150, and I can do it in a quicker and easier way than what is suggested in the manual. Thank you to Anna Haferman. So I have done my swatch, and I am using 2 of my own yarns. It's a long time since I've had it in the shop, so I can't actually remember what it's called, but this is a cashmere DK is what I call it. So this is an MCN, so a merino cashmere nylon blend, and I have Nebula and a Play on Wilted. So they're the 2 colours that if I can stop my camera from focusing on me, those are the 2 colours that I'm using. So this will be coming down the pipeline pretty soon. My swatch is upside down. So my swatch has been blocked, so that's why it's as you can see, like the stitches come out pretty even, and that is not something that I get when I do Fair Isle by hand. I have a lot of stitches that look like they've been slipped because they're just simply too big. And because on the knitting machine as well, the needles don't move, they are very well fixed in their position. The floats and everything stay really even, I suppose. And the whole knitting, while it's on the needle, stays very tight and stretched out. So in that respect, I think that's why you get such a even looking stitches, because there's none of the like being bunched up on circular needles or anything like that. So yeah, I'm really pleased with my swatch. I have my yarns ready to go. I still have them connected because I'm probably going to frog this and just re-knit the yarn, and I don't know how much I actually need for my project, so I don't want to run out. So I've kept it attached to my balls of yarn. And finally, I have 2 more projects that I'm hoping to get done because, in case you're not aware, Andrea Mowry does the March to May KAL. So you have until March to May to knit, I think, a sweater or a shawl from her range of patterns. And I have decided I'm going to try and join in this year. I don't usually have a very good track record with actually following through on cowls and things that I join up into. However, I'm going to give it a go, and it's going to be on the knitting machine because then that's quicker and I have a better chance of actually getting it done. Does this look familiar at all? You probably look for more familiar if you saw a post I put on Instagram. So this is actually my weekender sweater. It was fully knit, it was mostly seamed, and now it is back in yarn. Because I don't know whether it was on a vlog that I actually uploaded or whether it was on one of the vlogs that I have recorded and not edited and put up. I was not happy with the footage at all of what I recorded of me knitting this. For some reason, because I knit it I filmed it on my phone, and I think the settings on my phone were set for like 4K, and my computer is old. It is from 2017. It is a laptop from 2017, so it's not desperately powerful when it was new, let alone now 8 years down the track. So I couldn't actually even view the footage smoothly, let alone edit the footage. So my ultimate decision was, instead of spending hours trying to edit something that was virtually impossible to even watch on my computer, let alone edit, I was just going to frog it. I'm just going to start all over again. So there was a couple of points in this finished sweater that I wasn't actually happy with. The shoulders weren't great. There was 3 things that really bothered me. The one of my ribs at the bottom I did in the wrong tension. So because I did a hand-formed rib, it's actually supposed to have been knit in a lower tension than what the main body was. If that had been the only thing, I wouldn't have bothered pulling it apart, because it's neither here nor there, because it's a split hem, so it doesn't really matter. The second thing was, there are short rows to shape the top of the sweater, so you get a nice shoulder slant. And the first side that I did that on, because it gets a bit confusing, hopefully you'll be able to, I'll explain this well enough. I'm just going to put this yarn down to allow you to understand. But when you knit on the knitting machine, generally the knit side is away from you, the purl side is towards you when you're knitting backwards and forwards. When you do short rows, obviously you have wraps, and there is a certain way that you wrap the yarn on the knitting machine to enable short rows, which I followed. But then when I took it off the machine, my brain went, hang on, you want the back side. So because the Weekender has the purls on the outside rather than the knit stitches, my wraps for my short rows were actually on the outside of the sweater instead of being hidden inside the sweater. On the back, I figured out how to do that without having the wraps on the front, so I actually had them hidden on the knit side. So that kind of annoyed me that the 2 pieces were different, and there was actually I did actually have the ability to get my wraps on the hidden side of my jumper, so that was number 2. Number 3 was, I didn't continue latching, because if you're familiar with the Weekender sweater, it has ribbing across the shoulders, and I did not reform a couple of rows of knitting across the shoulders, so I ended up with this purl bar, sort of across a purl bar with a seam in the middle down my shoulders, and I didn't like it, and I should have relatched those to make ribbing instead of just having them all purl stitches. So if you're not familiar with knitting machines, some of that might not make sense, but I hope you kind of get the idea of where I'm coming from and why I wanted to redo it, because footage was bad and there were 3 separate mistakes. I'm still a learner, so I'm still very new at knitting machines, so we'll just call them learning opportunities, shall we, instead of mistakes. So there were 3 separate things on the sweater itself that were bothering me. So I frogged it yesterday. I've given the yarn a wash. The yarn actually came up really, really well. As you probably know, when you have knit yarn, it can get really kinky when you frog it, but it actually relaxed really nicely, so I was really, really pleased with that. And it will likely knit quite nicely again. So that is done. That is my Weekender. I'm hoping to get that done during the March to May KAL. And I do have a second project that I would like to get done in the March to May KAL, and that is a framed sweater. So this was the sweater that Andrea designed, I think, to be the Rhinebeck sweater for 2024. I loved it when it first came out. However, because again, it is colour work, it has motifs on it that look virtually like quilt pattern, like a star, certain kind of quilt pattern star. So of course, being a quilter, as you will see here, I am intending to make some project bags with quilted quilt motifs on them. So that was a proof of concept I did the other day that'll probably be turned into a bag, because they actually, let me show you. This was a bag that I included in my advent in 2022, I believe it was. So you can see there it's that same star shape, and then the back was just patchwork. So I'm hoping to make some of these for the shop in the next week or so, hence the proof of concept. Another tangent for Julianne. So yeah, so because I'm a quilter, and because this is this amazing sweater and I now can do colour work on my LK150, I thought, why not do the framed sweater? So that is what I'm going to do. I have one of my colours picked out. I think I know what the second one will be. I just need a third colour, because the shoulders are in shoulders, cuffs and the hem are all in one colour, and then you have the 2 colour body sections. So I have this new colourway that I dyed. I created this the other week. Not last week, maybe last week, week before. And this is actually the base that I'm going to be using on it, but this is shop stuff. I am ordering more yarn for me to dye for myself. So if this takes your fancy, you are welcome to it. This is my merino worsted base. So these are 115 gram skeins. And this is a colourway I called Blazing Berries. So it's very red, purple, there's a little bit of orange in there, a bit of brown. So this is going to be one of my body colours. And I think the other colour, what I'll do, is actually a play on wilted. So I think these will actually go really nicely on the body of, I think that it should be light enough to show up against the Blazing Berries. And then I just need to pick a colour for the hems and cuffs and the shoulders. So if you have an idea of what would look good with those colours, please do let me know. Give me an idea of what sort of tone you think I should go with, like what colour, what hue. And maybe I'll make a new colourway, or I will pick one from my existing range to add to that. But yeah, I am ordering some more yarns. That is coming, so I'll be able to dye that up fresh for my framed sweater. Hopefully I'll have time to make my weekender again before that yarn arrives, and I can dye it so that I can, you know, not get too overwhelmed. I'm probably going to have the weekender sweater jump ahead of the cowl as well, just because it's going to be a lot easier to knit, and also I want to film it so that I can actually share the second part of that series, because the first part of that series has been lingering on my channel for far too long. It needs its updates. So I think that is it. I think that's all I really wanted to talk about today. Hopefully there weren't too many tangents and I didn't bore you to death, but my brain is constantly pinging from one thing to another, so you take me as you find me. But yeah, for now I think that is it. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here and you did enjoy and you've hung around this long, please hit that like button, please subscribe. I am hoping to grow my channel a little bit more. I've not long reached 1,000 subscribers, which is amazing. So I'm so thankful for everybody who has already subscribed. But if you have not, please hit that subscribe button. It means the world to me. And of course, share my vlogs with somebody who you think might be interested. That would be wonderful as well. I'm always happy to welcome new folks. And let me know down in the comments, actually, why not? Give me your colour suggestions, let me know what you're working on. Are you joining the March to May KAL? Let me know what you're knitting and what yarn you're using. Definitely chuck that down in the comments as well. I'd love to hear. I read and reply to almost all the comments, so at the very least you'll get a love heart from me. You'll get a little heart. But yeah, please do that, and take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.